let me ask you something personal. Have you ever thought about the hidden side of pleasure? The side no one warns women about. We often hear that sex is healthy, good for the heart, even helps you sleep better. And that's true for the most part. But what if I told you there are risks many women never expect, especially as we age? In fact, did you know that nearly 95% of Americans over 60 live with at least one chronic health condition? And those silent conditions, they can make your body react very differently to intimacy than when you were younger. I once had a patient, a lively woman in her 50s, who couldn't figure out why she kept getting bladder infections after intimacy. It wasn't until she ended up in the ER that she realized what no one had told her about how her body was changing. And that's why this conversation is so important, not just for seniors, but for women of all ages and even caregivers who support them. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through 7 surprising side effects of sex most women don't see coming. We'll cover everything from infections to emotional shifts, bladder issues, even heart risks. And most importantly, I'll show you simple, safe ways to keep enjoying intimacy at any stage of life without fear. And if you're finding this helpful already, don't forget to tap like. And also, we have a target to hit 10 subscribers before the end of May. We believe you can make it happen. Please subscribe. This helps more women like you discover these life-changing health tips. Stick around till the end, because you might discover the one small habit that can protect your health and your pleasure at the same time. Let's get into it. Let's start with something that catches many women off guard. You see, the bladder is like a little balloon inside your body. Its job is to hold your pee until you're ready to let it out. Sounds simple, right? But here's the sneaky part. After intimacy, little bacteria can sneak inside that balloon through the tube you pee from, called the urethra. And guess what? For women, that tube is short. That means it's an easy, straight road for bacteria to climb up and cause trouble. Now, why should we care? Because those bacteria cause urinary tract infections, or UTIs. And believe me, they are no joke. I've seen women, strong, smart, healthy women, end up in the hospital just because they ignored the early warning signs. Let me tell you a quick story. I had a patient, Nancy. She was 62. She thought she was just having normal bladder infections like she used to in her 20s. But this time, things were different. She started feeling weak, feverish, and confused. Turns out, the infection had traveled up to her kidneys. She was scared, and so was her family. Here's the part nobody told Nancy. As we age, our body's defense system weakens. The good bacteria that usually guard the vagina and urinary tract thin out, especially after menopause when estrogen drops. That means bacteria that used to be harmless or easy to flush out can now take over fast and hard. But here's the good news, and I want you to really hold on to this. UTIs are preventable. Yes, even if you're older. Even if you're dealing with dryness or other age-related changes. You can take back control. The first and simplest trick, always empty your bladder after intimacy. It's like cleaning out the trash before it starts to stink. When you pee after sex, you help push out any unwanted bacteria before they have a chance to climb up into your bladder. It sounds small, but it's powerful. I tell my patients, make it a habit, go right after, even if you feel like you don't need to. No waiting. Even a small amount of urine can flush out those nasty invaders. Want to go a step further? Stay well hydrated. I recommend aiming for at least 8 glasses of water daily, more if you're active or it's a hot day. Think of water as your body's natural cleaner. It helps your bladder stay flushed and happy. And for postmenopausal women, there's an extra layer of defense. Talk to your doctor about vaginal estrogen cream. It's not the same as hormone pills. This is a low-dose cream that stays local right where you need it. It strengthens the tissues, brings back moisture, and makes it harder for bacteria to stick around. Many of my patients have found relief with it. Some say it changed their life. Remember, painful urination, urgency, lower belly aches after intimacy. These are your body's red flags. Don't ignore them. UTIs can seem small until they aren't. So, if you want to protect your pleasure and your health at any age, make post-intimacy peeing your best friend. Keep that bladder happy, and you'll feel more confident, safer, and ready to enjoy intimacy without the fear of those sneaky infections ruining your day or your week. Your body deserves to feel safe, even during life's most intimate moments. Now, let's move to something that's often whispered about or not talked about at all: vaginal dryness and micro tears. I like to call these the silent damage of intimacy because many women don't even know it's happening until things get uncomfortable or worse, painful. Let's break it down in simple terms. Think of your skin when it gets very dry, like during winter. It cracks easily, right? It feels itchy, raw, maybe even starts to bleed if you scratch too hard. Well, the same thing can happen inside your body in your most intimate areas. Your vagina has a lining that's designed to be soft, stretchy, and moist. That moisture isn't just about comfort. It's actually a protective shield. It keeps the tissues healthy, flexible, and strong. But after menopause, when estrogen drops, that natural moisture slows down. It's like a garden without enough rain. The soil dries up, cracks, and nothing grows properly. This makes the tissues thinner, weaker, and more fragile. So when intimacy happens, especially if it's sudden or without enough natural lubrication, those tissues can tear. Tiny, invisible cuts called micro tears. These micro tears may seem small, but they open the door to infections, burning sensations, pain during or after sex, and in some cases, bleeding. Some women even mistake it for a UTI or yeast infection, when in fact, it's just their tissues crying out for help. I once had a patient, Rosa. She was 58. She told me, "Doctor, I feel broken. Every time I'm intimate, I dread it because it hurts so much." Her confidence was slipping away. She avoided closeness with her husband, and it started to affect their relationship. When we examined her, I saw exactly what I'm warning you about today: dry, fragile tissues that were tearing every time they had sex. But Rosa's story doesn't end in sadness. Because here's the hopeful part: this is 100% fixable. And it doesn't have to involve complicated treatments or embarrassment. The first hero in this story: water-based lubricants. They act like a cushion, reducing friction and giving those tissues the slippery softness they need. But not just any product will do. I tell my patients, stick to unscented, water-based lubricants, especially if you have sensitive skin. Stay away from fancy fragrances or flavored gels. They can irritate already delicate tissues. When to use it? Every single time you have intimacy, no exceptions. Even if you feel okay, use it as a safety layer. And if you haven't been active for a while, don't skip this step. Your tissues need that extra kindness now more than ever. But lubrication is just the first step. For deeper healing, I recommend vaginal moisturizers. These aren't the same as lubricants. Think of them as daily lotion for your intimate area. They hydrate the tissues from the inside, restoring softness over time. I suggest using them 3 to 4 times a week, like you'd water a thirsty plant. The most common brands are available over the counter, but if you're not sure, talk to your doctor. They'll help you pick the right one for your needs. And if you want to go a step further, there's vaginal estrogen therapy. This is a local treatment, meaning it works only where you apply it. It helps rebuild the tissue's strength, thickness, and natural moisture. It's not a full-body hormone pill, so the risks are much lower, and many women tolerate it well. I've seen women like Rosa go from dreading intimacy to enjoying it again without fear or pain, all because they took these small but powerful steps. Remember, You deserve pleasure without punishment. Your body isn't broken. It's simply asking for a little more care, a little more preparation. And when you give it that care, intimacy becomes enjoyable again, not a source of worry. So please, don't suffer in silence. Use the lubricants, the moisturizers, the creams. Talk to your doctor if something feels off. You're not alone, and there are gentle, effective ways to make sure your body feels as ready as your heart. Now, let's talk about something that often surprises my patients, especially those in their golden years. STIs, or sexually transmitted infections, don't retire when you do. They don't care if you're 25, 45, or 75. In fact, some infections, like HPV, are actually on the rise in older adults, especially women. You see, many people think that STIs are young people's problems. But the truth is, as we live longer, stay active longer, and yes, date or remarry later in life, those same risks come right back into the picture. I once had a patient, Linda. She was 66, widowed for years. She finally found a new companion and was over the moon. But what Linda didn't know, her partner had been with other women, and no one had thought about protection. Within a few months, Linda found herself facing HPV, human papillomavirus, which can silently cause cervical and vaginal cancers. And that's the scary part about HPV. It's often invisible. No pain, no itching. It hides quietly for years, sometimes decades, before showing itself as cancer or other complications. Now, you might be wondering, but I've been married for years, or I'm not dating around. Why should I worry? Here's why. Life changes. Divorce, widowhood, second marriages. Our generation didn't grow up with condoms being the norm for long-term relationships. And let's not forget, our immune system slows down with age, making it harder to fight off infections like we used to. But there's hope, and it starts with simple, smart steps. First step, bring condoms back into the conversation. Even if you've never used them before, even if you trust your partner, using condoms is still one of the best shields against STIs, including HPV, chlamydia, and gonorrhea. It's like locking your front door. You might trust your neighbors, but you still lock up at night, right? Same idea here. I tell my patients, no shame, no awkwardness, just safety. And if you're embarrassed to bring it up with your partner, think of it like brushing your teeth. It's part of taking care of your body. If they truly care about you, they'll respect it. Second step, get screened regularly. Many women think PAP smears stop at age 65. But if you've had new partners, you need to continue screenings beyond that, as HPV can still be lurking. Talk to your doctor about how often you should test. In general, every 3 years for PAP smears, and every 5 years for HPV tests, unless your doctor says otherwise. Third step, consider the HPV vaccine. Yes, it's true, many women think the vaccine is just for teens. But today, it's approved for adults up to age 45. If you're under that age and haven't been vaccinated, it's worth asking your doctor if it makes sense for you. And if you're older than 45, that doesn't mean you're helpless. Screening, protection, and open conversations are still powerful tools. Look, I know these topics can feel awkward or even a little scary. But here's what I always tell my patients, whether they're 30 or 70. Your health doesn't stop being important just because you hit a certain age. You deserve pleasure, connection, and safety. All of them. And they can exist together. So don't let old myths about STIs or age stop you from protecting your body. Remember, your body has been good to you for all these years. Let's be good back to it by using protection, getting screened, and having those honest conversations that keep you safe and fully alive. By the way, if you want an easy checklist of the health steps we're covering today, check the link in the description below. I've made a free guide you can download and share. Let's talk about something that makes a lot of women feel embarrassed, but really shouldn't. Bladder leakage. pelvic organ prolapse. They're more common than you think, and they can sneak up quietly. Now, imagine your pelvic floor like a hammock made of strong muscles. This hammock holds up important things like your bladder, your uterus, and your rectum. But over the years, that hammock can stretch, sag, or even tear. Childbirth, heavy lifting, chronic coughing, even just the wear and tear of time, it all adds up. And when that support weakens, those organs start to drop lower than they should. That's called pelvic organ prolapse. It can feel like heaviness, like something's falling out down there, or you might even see or feel a bulge. And here's where intimacy gets tricky. Sex can put extra pressure on these weakened tissues. Some women feel discomfort, or worse, they leak urine during or right after intimacy. And that's not only embarrassing, it's heartbreaking for many women. I remember a patient, Gloria, she was 59. She told me, "Doctor, I stopped being intimate because I couldn't stand the fear of leaking. I felt broken." And let me tell you, Gloria is not alone. 1 in 3 women over 60 experience some form of pelvic floor weakness. But here's the hopeful part. You can rebuild that hammock. You can strengthen those muscles. And you can take back your confidence. How? Kegel exercises. They're simple. They're free. And they work. Let's break it down simply. Kegels are like mini weightlifting workouts, but for the muscles inside your pelvis. You squeeze the muscles you'd use to stop yourself from passing gas or peeing. Hold, then release. It's like telling those sleepy muscles, "Hey, wake up and get to work." Here's how I teach my patients to do them properly. Sit comfortably or lie down. Imagine you're trying to stop urine midstream, but don't actually do it while peeing. That can cause problems. Squeeze those muscles gently. Hold for 5 seconds. Start with what you can manage. Relax for 5 seconds. Repeat 10 times. Aim for 3 sets a day. Morning, afternoon, evening. If you're doing them right, no one around you will know. You can do them while brushing your teeth, watching TV, or waiting in line. But consistency is the key. Just like your arm muscles, your pelvic floor muscles need regular attention. You won't see results overnight, but in about 6 to 8 weeks, many women start feeling stronger and leaking less. And if you want extra support, ask your doctor about pelvic floor physical therapy. These are specialists who can help you learn advanced techniques, use gentle devices, and guide you through the process safely. Gloria, she started doing her Kegels every day, faithfully. Within a few months, she told me, "Doctor, I feel like me again. I can laugh, dance, and be close to my husband without fear." That's the gift of giving those muscles the attention they deserve. So remember, your pelvic floor didn't weaken overnight, and it won't rebuild overnight either. But small steps done daily can bring back your strength, your control, and your joy. Your body is still your own. Let's honor it by keeping the foundation, your pelvic floor, as strong as it deserves to be. Now, let's take a little turn and talk about something that often gets brushed under the rug. The emotional roller coaster that can happen after intimacy. You see, we often talk about the physical risks of sex, UTIs, dryness, bladder leakage. But what about how intimacy can affect your mood, your emotions, your mental balance? This is something many women of all ages don't expect. And when it happens, they feel confused or even ashamed. Let me tell you a story. I had a patient, Sheila, she was 55. She told me, "Doctor, after intimacy, I find myself crying for no reason. I feel low, irritable, even angry at my husband, and I don't know why. I used to feel connected and happy. Now I just feel off." At first, Sheila thought she was going crazy. But she wasn't. Her body was simply reacting in a way she wasn't used to. Here's why this happens. Your body is like a chemical factory with little workers called hormones running around doing their jobs. When you're intimate, Your body releases a mix of these workers like oxytocin, sometimes called the cuddle hormone, along with dopamine, and others that make you feel good. But after sex, especially as we age and our hormone levels shift, the body can go through a crash. It's like a sugar rush. You feel great for a while, and then suddenly you hit a wall. This is because your levels of oxytocin and dopamine can drop quickly. And if your body is already low on hormones like estrogen or progesterone, which naturally happens after menopause, the crash can feel even harder. For some women, this might show up as sadness. For others, it's irritability, anxiety, or a hollow, empty feeling. This is postcoital dysphoria, PCD, and while it's rarely talked about, it's very real. But here's the hopeful part. You are not broken. You are not alone. And there are ways to support your body and emotions. First, I tell all my patients, track your emotions. Keep a simple journal, nothing fancy. After intimacy, write down how you feel physically and emotionally. Do this for a few weeks. Patterns will show up. Once you see a pattern, you can better manage it. Second, create a soft landing ritual. Don't rush right into chores, stressful conversations, or scrolling on your phone. Instead, take 10 to 15 minutes afterward to calm your body and mind. This could be a warm bath, gentle stretching or breathing exercises, holding your partner quietly, just lying together, listening to soft music. These simple actions help balance your nervous system, keeping those feel-good chemicals flowing longer, reducing the sudden emotional dip. Third, if you notice that the emotional lows are strong, last for days, or interfere with your life, talk to your doctor. Sometimes low hormone levels might need a little support, like low-dose hormone therapy or counseling to help manage emotional swings. I also remind women, be gentle with yourself. Aging doesn't just change your body, it changes how your brain and emotions react. That's not weakness, that's biology. And when you understand your body's new patterns, you can work with them, not against them. Sheila? Once she learned to track her emotions, create a post-intimacy calming routine, and talk openly with her husband about how she felt, her confidence came back. She stopped fearing the emotional crashes because she knew how to ride them out, how to soften the landing. And you can do the same. Your emotions are part of your beautiful, complex body. They're not your enemy. When you give them space, support, and care, you can continue to enjoy intimacy at any age without the fear of feeling off or crazy afterward. Remember, your joy, your calm, and your peace matter. Let's honor them by caring for both your body and your heart. Let's now shine a light on something many women find too embarrassing to talk about: chronic yeast infections and bacterial vaginosis, or BV. These are the quiet troublemakers that can make life and intimacy feel miserable. First, let's break it down in the simplest way. Your vagina is like a well-balanced garden. In this garden, there are lots of good bacteria that act like helpful little gardeners, keeping everything tidy and healthy. They make sure the environment stays just the right level of acidic, which keeps bad bacteria and yeast in check. But sometimes things throw this garden out of balance. It could be taking antibiotics, using scented soaps, hormonal changes, especially after menopause. Even sex can disturb the balance. When this happens, either yeast grows too much, causing yeast infections, or bad bacteria take over, causing BV. And here's the tricky part. Both can look and feel similar. Itching, burning, strange discharge, discomfort during intimacy. But they are not the same. And that's why guessing at home with over-the-counter creams isn't always the best idea. Many women treat themselves for yeast when it's actually BV, and vice versa. And when these infections keep coming back over and over, it wears you down. It steals your confidence, and it makes you feel like your body is betraying you. I once had a patient, Mabel, 63 years old. She told me, "Doctor, I feel like I live at the pharmacy. Every time I think it's gone, It's back again. I'm tired, embarrassed, and frustrated. And here's where we find hope. Because once Mabel understood the real cause behind the infections and what tiny daily steps she could take to protect her garden, it changed everything. So, let's talk about what works. First, and most importantly, stop using scented soaps, douches, or sprays near your intimate area. These products might smell nice, but they throw off the delicate balance of good bacteria. I tell my patients, warm water only, or if needed, a gentle, unscented soap, but only around the outside, never inside. The vagina is a self-cleaning oven. Let it do its job. Second, support the good bacteria. Eat foods rich in probiotics. Those are the good guys your body loves. Things like yogurt with live cultures, kefir, sauerkraut, or even probiotic supplements. Always check with your doctor first. Adding these to your diet daily helps your body naturally fight off yeast and BV by crowding out the bad guys. Third, if you have diabetes or high blood sugar, control it carefully. Yeast feeds on sugar. When your blood sugar is high, it's like throwing fertilizer on the yeast garden, making it grow like crazy. Fourth, always see your doctor if symptoms keep coming back. Don't self-diagnose. BV, in particular, needs prescription treatment. Antibiotics that target the bad bacteria. And if it keeps returning, there are long-term treatment plans your doctor can guide you through safely. Lastly, after intimacy, especially if you're prone to these infections, wash gently with warm water and change into dry, breathable cotton underwear. Staying in tight, sweaty clothes can make yeast and bacteria thrive. Mabel, she started doing these things daily, simple, gentle steps. She kept a diary of her symptoms, learned to tell the difference between yeast and BV, and worked with her doctor for the right treatment plan. After months of frustration, she finally told me, "Doctor, I feel fresh, confident, and back in control." That's what I want for you, too. Your body is strong. Your body is smart. And sometimes it just needs a little extra care to keep that beautiful garden healthy. Don't be embarrassed. Don't suffer in silence. Take these small steps and you can reclaim comfort, confidence, and joy every single day. Now, let's talk about something that many women and men never think of when it comes to intimacy: your heart. Yes, that mighty pump inside your chest. You see, during intimacy, your body goes through changes that are a bit like a workout. Your heart beats faster. Your breathing gets quicker. Your blood pressure goes up. That's normal. It's your body's way of sending extra oxygen and energy to your muscles and brain to keep you in the moment. But here's the part that catches many people off guard, especially those over 50 or anyone living with silent heart issues or high blood pressure. If your heart is already weak or clogged up with plaque, like sticky gunk inside your plumbing pipes, that extra strain during intimacy can tip things over the edge. I once had a patient, Mr. James, 68 years old. He was active, loved his evening walks, but had been ignoring his blood pressure for years. One night, after an intimate moment with his wife, he felt dizzy, sweaty, and short of breath. It wasn't romance. It was his heart waving a red flag. Luckily, James got to the hospital in time. He had been having small, silent heart attacks for weeks and didn't even know it. That's why I want you to remember this. Intimacy is like light exercise. If you wouldn't sprint up a hill without warming up, don't expect your heart to handle intimacy if you haven't been taking care of it. But don't panic. This doesn't mean you have to give up closeness or stop enjoying your relationship. Far from it. You just need to be smart, prepared, and kind to your heart. Here's how. First, know your numbers. Before you get too cozy under the sheets, make sure you've had a heart checkup in the last year. That means checking your blood pressure, getting your cholesterol tested. If you're over 50 or have diabetes, high blood pressure, or smoke, talk to your doctor about doing an EKG or stress test. It's like giving your car a tune-up before a long road trip. Second, warm up literally. Don't jump straight into intense activity. Ease into intimacy. Think of it like warming up before exercise. Start slow. Focus on touch, kissing, cuddling. Let your heart adjust gradually so it's not shocked by sudden bursts of effort. Third, listen to your body. If during intimacy you feel shortness of breath, dizziness, chest tightness, or an unusual pounding in your head, stop immediately. Sit or lie down. Drink some water. If symptoms don't ease after a few minutes, or if they feel severe, don't be shy. Call for help. Your body whispers first. If you ignore the whispers, it might have to scream. Fourth, make lifestyle changes now, before trouble shows up. Things like eating more fruits, veggies, and heart-healthy fats, walking or doing light exercise at least 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, reducing salty foods that can spike blood pressure, managing stress with breathing exercises or meditation. I like to tell my patients, your heart is like your kitchen sink. If you keep pouring grease and junk down the drain, it will clog up. But if you clean it regularly, keep the flow moving, and respect its limits, it will serve you well for many years. Mr. James? He made those small changes. He started checking his blood pressure daily, took his meds faithfully, walked more, and yes, had open, honest talks with his wife about pacing themselves during intimacy. And you know what he told me at his 6-month checkup? Doctor, I feel stronger, more confident, and my wife says I'm more attentive than ever. So remember, intimacy isn't off limits because of age or heart worries. You just need to respect your body's limits and work with them, not against them. Your heart is your lifelong partner. Let's take care of it so it can take care of you, even during life's most special moments. So, let's take a deep breath together. Today, we uncovered 7 hidden side effects of intimacy that most women never see coming. We talked about the sneaky infections like UTIs, the silent damage of vaginal dryness, the hidden risks of HPV, and STIs that don't retire when we do. We explored how the pelvic floor can weaken and surprise us with leaks, how emotions can dip after closeness, and how yeast or BV can silently invade our comfort. And finally, we talked about the one organ we often forget in the bedroom, the heart, and how to protect it with simple, loving steps. These are not just scary facts. They are signs your body is whispering for extra care. And the good news? You now have simple, doable steps to protect your health, keep your confidence, and continue to enjoy intimacy safely at any age. Because here's what I want you to remember. Aging doesn't mean losing connection, pleasure, or joy. It just means listening to your body more carefully, honoring its new needs, and making small, smart changes that keep you vibrant. Whether you're 35, 65, or supporting someone you love through these changes, you have the power to protect your body, your emotions, and your heart. Don't be afraid to talk to your doctor. Don't shy away from those awkward questions. And most importantly, don't let fear steal your joy. With the right care, you can embrace this chapter of your life with confidence, grace, and strength. And before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Was there something today that really surprised you? Leave a comment below. I read every one, and your story might help someone else too. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope you feel more informed, more empowered, and ready to take these steps toward a healthier, more joyful you.